Waiting to come alive. We have live astrology. The chart here is showing sun rising. I'm in the East Coast. I'm sorry, Central Coast. Central time zone. I'm not at the coast. Today's DreamBot on August 27th, 2025. I'm calling the game of high stakes. It's an unusual DreamBot run, so I want your take on it. Lots of new words. Lots of the same words like Aug and August. And we'll do a reading. Source. Well, anyway, I'll change that later. All right, we don't need that anymore. We don't need this. Welcome. All right. Live astrology. How's everybody doing? We are headed into an eclipse season, and you can see that evidenced by this first quarter moon, almost first quarter moon. This is current as of 27 August at 8:49 a.m. Central Time. Sun is rising here. If you're on the West Coast, sun might be just about rising. East Coast might be a little bit higher in the sky. That's why location is very important for any chart. The first place I go to is the sun. Sun's in Virgo, early Virgo, it's extra Virgo. Discretionary, discerning, analytical. And then I look at for the ascendant, and again, very dependent on the location, time of day. In this case, almost Libra, but currently Virgo at this time, so we need to be paying attention to the details. We're waiting for Saturn to return into Pisces. And right now, Venus is the one that's really hitting on those degrees. I look down here, and although I can't zoom in, you can see how a lot of these planets are coagulated right at the beginning of the degrees of their particular zodiac sign. So it creates a lot of lines, creates a lot of alignments. So we have Sun, Ascendant, and then we talked about the Moon. Moon is in Libra, approaching a first quarter moon as we head into the lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse in Pisces. And we'll talk all about that in more detail. We'll look at where you can view it, when you can view it. All the United States is just shit out of luck. You're not going to be able to see this moon or this eclipse. And but we'll talk about where you need to go, like far, far away. All right, so let's go ahead and do a reading. Let's go. All right. Move my coffee. So, remember, I have the planets deck, I have zodiac sign deck, and the housing system. So 3 piles, and I'm just going to start with an intention. The intention is some sort of help for all of the people watching today, particularly today, or if they're watching in the next couple of days. Energetically, some, including advice that the universe has for these National Dream Center surfers that want to surf the energies currently as we approach the full moon in Pisces. So I just start with mixing it up, and then I'm looking for, as I hold the intention, I'm looking for one card naturally. So this grouping, for example, is multiple cards, so it just goes on the top, and I move on, and I wait for that single card. Is North Node. So I put that down here, and I move on to the zodiac sign. Maintaining my intention in my mind, focused on that, shuffling it initially. It felt like one was going to drop, but it didn't, so I put that back in the top. That felt like one, but it wasn't. Sometimes they sort of stick together. Still not one. There's one, and that is, Aquarius. Hits home. For me, anyway. So far, we're looking very futuristic, aren't we? So now I'm looking at the housing. Instead of interpreting what I have so far, I am still focused on the intention. There we go. In the first house. So we have a future oriented, our path, we've clearly the suggestion is North Node to pivot to the future. To stop looking at the past. Oh boy, here we go. Hold on. Okay. And it's an Aquarius, so we need to be thinking of uniqueness, thinking out of the box, rebellious, free thinking, unconventional, and independent, very intellectual, thinking and worried about collective concerns. So it's not just a selfish end and being free to be yourself. It's also, hey, humanitarian. Do things progressively, creatively, but also humanity and humanly, but also in a detached way. In the first house is about your projection out to humanity, out to the collective, is your unique self. Think about that in today's reading. It's about, if you can, what do you want to put out to the world authentically? How do you want the world to see the unique you? And particularly not per se, it wouldn't be comparing things to the past. I would be looking more into the future, because you always have that choice of who you want to become, who you want to be. And so as we head into the eclipse season, it's first releasing the old stuff at the full moon lunar eclipse, and the last sign of the zodiac, Pisces. So giving up what you maybe used to be, or you no longer want to be, the core identity, and what wasn't serving you, hand that over to the moon, and be then focused on who you are becoming, the unique you. Not the world doesn't need another replica of your best friend or your loving parent, or the friend that you were magnetized to. They need the real you. They need the unique you, the unapologetic you. So the first house is personality, how people see you, the mask or the persona that you put out to the world, and how people perceive you. Not that you own that responsibility to create the identity of how you want people to see you. But ironically, there's a paradox in there. You can't control that. You're going to suffer a lot if you try to control how people are perceiving you and seeing you, and what kind of person you are, and putting labels on you. And but ironically, what you do creates that. So what do you want them to have a chance of seeing about you? What kind of a person are you? So there's a great opportunity in this eclipse cycle, in my opinion, and it's all about shift and change. So anyway, okay, so we have CJ Star Monkey, welcome. Bobby Lee, welcome. Hermes, welcome. Montrose, Colorado. Okay, so we're going on a little vacation soon. Angie and I. That's going to be somewhere in mysterious Colorado. Okay, what's next? Let's look at the DreamBot. Let me get everything set up. And there it is. All right, just an overview. We have a lot of hits, a lot of words on gambling, cards. The word cards is even in here. And with the words that are associated with gambling and cards like call, then I have included in here poker. And so overall, I think the stakes are increasing in the collective mind. 13 it's pretty significant. Then we have, I want your take on this in particular, don't kill the messenger. And my mind is thinking of awakening. Even the word awaken or something is in here. So there is an awakening. And when we do this homeostatic energy or trend or habit in the human mind, we tend to reject it. We reject what's new. So if you've been, head in the sand, let's say, and then all of a sudden you start questioning things and you start getting evidence for it, or better yet, someone is presenting you with the evidence. And what do we tend to do? And some of us more than others, we tend to shoot the messenger, kill the messenger, right? So don't kill the messenger when the truth is starting to come out. All right, that's what I'm seeing in the bot run. We'll look at that here in a second. And then location, undeniable location, but it's only 5. All right, so here's what I've got for the gambling and poker. Collection in poker, we collect all the chips, or that's the goal, collect all the chips. Adding, there's a lot of adding and math and pros, not pros and cons, but risk reward ratios. Bad beat, obviously crying inside, you're not allowed to show it, but game, limit, no limit poker, fish, go fish is a card game. Wants, lying, poker is full of lying and in a variety of ways. Some of it verbal, but mostly just in the betting. So cards, call, and ask. Ask is basically the bet. I'm asking for everyone to call or not. I'm asking for them to fold. Then we have, okay, so what do you think about that? Gambling. Everybody agree, or am I off? Should we call that something else? Keeping an eye on the comments. All right, so Bobby Lee plays a lot of poker also. Well, I don't also play a lot of poker anymore. I used to. I like to occasionally go. And pretty good winning rate, but last time wasn't. Last time I went. All right, number 2, don't kill the messenger. Well, first word, messenger. Waking shadow, waking the shadow, waking the shadow. The shadow is where we got programmed, and then you start assuming that that's how the world works, or that's the facts of history, or whatever is part of the shadow. So when you're waking the shadow, you start realizing, oh, the secrets. Oh, okay, this is how the world works, or maybe it's just questions. So the messenger wakes the shadow. Noticed, this is the awareness piece. Noticed. Notes. Lying. Been lied to. Kill the messenger, and call. So there's a lot of messenger in here. So notes, lying, and call. The kill is really just focused on killing the messenger. So I don't know. It's a loose association. It's not nearly as strong as the gambling and the risk taking, right? You all agree? Risk taking in the zodiac. Let's go back over to, because I forgot to mention this. Let's go back over. Why is it? Oh, there we go. Okay. So in the zodiac, there's a lot of gamblers in here and different reasons for their gambling. Start with the zodiac signs. A lot of the fire signs are impulsive, and so just willing to take that kind of risk, bold, confident, and just impulsive. And we do have this week coming up a grand fire trine. When the moon hits Sagittarius, you're going to have Venus, moon, and these guys down in Aries. And so that does increase the risks and impulsiveness, risk taking. Also, Uranus with the change and quick to change and everything, and very unpredictable. That can feel risky. And then, of course, you've got Jupiter with the planet of excess and maybe too much optimism. Sometimes when you get into that gambling kind of mind, it's the exaggerated hope of winning, and that's very much Jupiter. It's the unhealthy version of the excessive. Too much optimism when it's unfounded or at the wrong time, misplaced. So anyway, what do y'all think there? Whoops. All right, back to the run. And then obviously location. We have, first of all, visit. Visit, well, I think you visit a place, right? So workplace, world, island, and town. When I first saw this run, I was looking at island and fish, and I was thinking there's something like tropical in this run. The words that don't have a theme, in my opinion, is dad, until, and today. It's more of like just a loose, limited time kind of. Time and space are a lot of the words in your standard run, but these are pretty solid locations, so I thought it was worth adding there. But dad, where does dad belong? Okay. Go back from fishing. Fishing in Alaska. Fishing is a gamble. Yeah. Totally agree. I was just talking to my new work landlord, and he's a pro. He's an ex-pro fisherman in his 60s, I believe, somewhere around 60s. And he's quit, and he's very dissatisfied with the nature of the game anymore. And it's those damn young guys are winning it now. And I'm like, well, how much like youthfulness do you really need for fishing? I'm not bad mouthing. I don't know. And he said it wasn't about strength or speed. It was about technology. And all the, he calls them graphs, and the graphs are like basically radars, as far as I'm concerned, radars that go down in the water and they see where the fish are, and then it can locate, it shows you where your lure is, and then you just correlate it down and basically place it in the fish's mouth. and those damn young guys win all the competitions in fishing. I thought it was kind of funny because I know nothing really about fishing. I used to do fishing, but nothing like pro or anything. For some reason, because CJ Star, for some, it's Russian roulette. Yeah, they're deep in the game. I was thinking that too. So I've been listening to a lot about the economy, and basically nobody knows. Absolutely nobody knows where this thing is going. And including, like who had it right at the beginning of the year was the gold people and the Bitcoins, and that's not necessarily true right now. Everything's just sort of stagnant. And so who's right? Well, anyway, nobody freaking knows. And I think that the people that are falling victim to this gambling thing, or it looks like it's a high stakes like game of Risk, are the people who are trying to keep this old system going. And we all know, I'm pretty sure we all know that it's a pyramid scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme, and everywhere you turn is a Ponzi scheme. I can give specifics, but only a few places where it don't seem to be a Ponzi scheme. But the economy, the way it is, the way it has been for so many years, it's the snake eating itself. It's the Fed buying up its own debt just to keep the whole charades going. And I see that as the high risk. I see that kind of that feel to it. And then you see, I don't know if it's like an illusion or a movie, a pretend thing, but you see this conflict between what the new system is proposed to be is this cryptocurrency. But the biggest players of all, the biggest string pullers, are the ones trying to keep the old system afloat. Meanwhile, bad-mouthing the new system, but is the new system just another Ponzi scheme? And it is digital. So anything digital, you can totally see. You can shut their account down, right? You can say, nope, none for you. You don't have a high enough social credit score. So, done. And no one knows. That's the thing. Only you know that you can't go get gas and you don't have access to your money anymore. Only you know, because they censor any communication outward. So you're just like shit out of luck. All right, where are we at? Oh, fishing. Silver. They have hoarded most of the gold, silver useful in electronics and new tech. Yeah. And it's also a lower price point, so easier to manipulate. And yes, it's pretty obvious at this point silver is totally being manipulated. And arguably gold as well, but much harder to. Still think they need to audit. That's an old Ron Paul thing. Just freaking audit it. Audit the gold, Fort Knox, audit the Fed. How hard is that? Oh, yeah, people are blackmailed into not doing that, just complying. Okay, gotcha. All right. So we'll figure it out. We're prepping it all anyway. Right. I think the biggest thing is casting a wide net and diversifying in location, diversifying in what you've got, diversifying in, so in this bubble of, say, metals, diversify that, and then diversify location. And crypto, diversify out into cold wallets, and diversify out into location, like the seed phrase. And gosh, there's just so much to think about, right? Even if you want to just keep everything in the bank, I don't blame you for that, but they have been warning about banks, and banks have been going broke. I just talked to a banker a couple days ago. It was a pretty good conversation, actually. But diversify your bank accounts. Diversify. Diversify. Let's see. What else? Nobody freaking knows. I don't. Does Trump even know? Or, there's like a conflict within the the Trump area where he's got the grand plan. Maybe he does, and then just sort of sometimes acts like he doesn't, or acts like he's making a dumb move, and then it's all set up for people biting off on the bait, and then we got him. Okay, I'm jiggy with that, but does he know? That's the point. And I'm sure like 50% of you think he does, and he's steering it, and it's working perfectly in alignment with the plan. And then there's a chance that it's just a kind of a crapshoot. Like, we're going to do the tariff thing and see what happens. And you guys are going to double your incomes, and we're going to reduce taxes. Like, reduce taxes, that's not what we were promised. But whatever. I want to just get rid of taxes. How about that? All right. Off I go. Off I go. All right. But remember the card reading as we wind down today. Remember the card. Remember the reading. Even if you come here late in the next couple of days, the reading says North Node, so pivot to the future. Even just the next week or so, and especially the future of this next couple of weeks as we enter into the eclipse season, because things are resetting. We got the energetically resetting. We got the eclipse cycle starting, but this next eclipse is the ending of the old guard, the Aries eclipse cycle. So we have the Pisces full moon lunar eclipse. That's like the grand hurrah. Give everything back that's not useful to you. Keep what is useful. Sacrifice it to the moon. Clean out your system. Detox. And then start getting ready for the Virgo eclipse season. It's the second of 2 Virgo new moons. That's going to be third week in September. And then there you will set the intention for the 6 months. So that's another reason why I think we had this reading, is we need to get ready for what's new, for what you want to become. You got 6 months of Virgo. Virgo is very detailed, very analytical, very discerning. You can pay attention too. So pay attention in that regard. But the reading was about Aquarian, and that's mainly about putting your place in the world, figuring out what your life purpose, your unique self. And then in the first house, putting it out to the world, starting with your family and loved ones and your close friends, and then just being the real you, as the real you that you choose to become. Again, all sorts of paradoxes packed in there. All right, that's all I have. I appreciate all of you for being here. And what do you think? Do we need to add something? Do we need to take something away in these lives? This is the second one we've done. And other than that, I'm going to start getting ready for the next CIRF report. We have a full moon lunar eclipse to talk about, so it'll be a good one on Monday. And we'll see you then. Take care, everybody.